This episode is going to be about something that I know we all have dealt with, and it is productivity. Especially being a student, we always want to be more productive because we often find ourselves wasting time in some form or fashion. And even when you're not in college, as far as work or whatever you're doing, you want to use time as efficiently as possible. You want to be productive. You don't want to go through every day thinking that you haven't gotten anything done and that your life's like a joke or something. So I've put together these tips because I've been a victim of unproductivity, whatever it may have you. And I just got tired of it. I wanted to increase my efficiency during the day, get things done, because I'm a person who likes that and get a lot of things done. I don't like wasting time, but I will fall victim to wasting time a lot. So I have 7 tips in this episode that have personally helped me, especially in my college career, make the most out of each day to be the most productive person I can be. Now, I'm not going to lie, this does not happen every day. Every day I'm not a super productive machine like I wish I was, but it does help. I've seen the difference in me getting my goals accomplished, and overall just more satisfaction with how my day goes. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first step that we're gonna talk about is probably the most simple, but also one of the hardest to keep up with for some reason, and that's just staying hydrated. Yeah, just drink water. In fact, I got a cup of water right here. I'm about to just make sure I stay hydrated during this episode. Yeah, stay hydrated. The human brain is made of around 85% water. In fact, when you're not properly hydrated, it affects the brain, and you get headaches, poor concentration, reduced short-term memory. And according to my research, even your ability to perform arithmetic and do type other of psychomotor skills can be reduced if you're not hydrated enough. And this is due to the fact that dehydration causes the level of energy production in the brain to decrease. So one easy step that you can do right now, you could just pause this and go grab a bottle of water, is drink more water. It's easy, but most of us don't drink enough water during the day. Most of us walk around every day dehydrated. So you're probably thinking, well, Cleveland, how much water am I really supposed to drink a day? Now, how much water you're supposed to drink a day really depends on a lot of variables and factors, such as your age, your gender, your height, weight, activity level, things like that. But to keep it as simple and easy as possible, we've all heard the 8 glasses a day thing. Well, 8 glasses, what's a glass exactly? How many ounces in a glass? And how do I actually, know that I drink 8 glasses of water? No one really does that. That's an old thing. It's out the door. Easiest way to do it is buy yourself a reusable water bottle that has the measurement of ounces on the outside. So you can see how many ounces are in the water bottle, whether it's 19 ounces, 32 ounces, 33 ounces, whatever it is. So you can keep track of how much water you're drinking. Now, you're supposed to drink, according to my research and things that I've learned over time, you're supposed to drink about half an ounce of water, or at least half an ounce of water, for every pound of your body weight. So if I weigh 155 pounds, that means that I should be drinking at least 77.5 ounces of water a day, because that's half my body weight in ounces. So that's a simple way to do it. Easy math. If you want to be more specific about your water intake according to your personal needs, I'm going to put a link in the show notes under the episode for camelback.com. If you've never heard of Camelback, they're a brand for water bottles. In fact, you could get one of their reusable water bottles and use that. And they also do things for like hikers and things like that, so they stay hydrated. It's on camelback.com, and it's a calculator, a hydration calculator, so you can see exactly how much water you should be drinking for your certain gender, age, height, activity level, how much you perspirate. Did he just say perspirate? Cleavon, you gotta do better. Stop making up these words, man. How intense your activity is. It takes all that into account to show you how much water you should be drinking. All right, so first step, drink more water. Boom, that's easy. Second step, or second tip, is make list. Now, making lists, that's easier said than done, because for some reason we just don't like to sit down and write things down. But writing lists, I think that is the most important tip out of all 7 of these tips. The first part of getting the thing done is just writing it down, because you're physically committing to writing it down, which makes it, when it's just a thought in your head, it's easy to get lost, you forget, you don't follow through. But when you write it down, that's the first step to actually getting it done. Now, this could be a list for anything. It could be a to-do list, a checklist, shopping list. You don't want to shop around all day just looking at random things that you walk by just because you walk by them. Make a shopping list. Just go to those certain things and get them. More productive with your shopping. Boom. You can make a goal list so you can achieve your goals faster or stay focused on your goals, anything like that. Make lists. Write it down. I do this personally every single day. Before I go to sleep, I make a list of things I know need to get accomplished for the next day, whether that be personal objectives, academic, whatever needs to get done in that day. I write it down and put a marker. I use my iPhone actually, because writing things down and then carrying a notebook around everywhere, I always have my iPhone, so I write it down on there, and I put a little check box next to it, leave it open so that when I press it, it lights up yellow, so that I know that I got it done. Now, the other thing I do, which I extremely recommend to anyone who is doing to-do lists to make their day more productive, is to put times next to your items on your list. Before, I was just putting the items on there. Okay, this needs to go. I need to go to the store. I need to get gas. I need to call this person. I need to do this assignment. I was just putting it on the list, and I knew it was on the list. I'll look at the list and I'll try to get it done, but I rarely ever got through the majority of the list, like ever. And I was wondering, I'm like, okay, man, I'm making these lists, but they're not really working for me. So one day I just said, well, I'm going to time out each thing I put on there. So I said, okay, I'm going to wake up at this time. I'm going to go get gas at this time. I'm going to play basketball from this time to this time. I'm going to take a shower at this time. I'm going to start reading at this specific time. And when I started doing that, my efficiency, or my follow through rather, of my list increased dramatically, because when I would go off schedule, I would know that I was falling behind. Before, I didn't know I was falling behind. So I would get 2 or 3 things done when I still had 8 things on the list that I needed to get done. But I had no type of time to associate with how well I was performing. So write down specific times that you want to get those things done. And I promise you, unless you really just don't care about falling behind schedule, and you shouldn't be having a list in the first place if you don't care. Put the times next to your list, and trust me, you will see an improvement of your follow through of your list. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to get everything done every time. In fact, that hardly ever happens. But you will realize how much more you get done just because you took your time into consideration. So make sure you do that as well. Now, the next tip also has to do with time. Now, this next tip is called know your peak hours. Now, peak hours, that's just simply saying what time is your brain at its peak. It's most productive, most focused, most sharp state. When can your brain do the most? That's your peak hours. So very successful people like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and those, we all have heard them say, if you ever look at what they say in interviews and things like that, they say they wake up at 4:30 a.m., 3:30, 5:30. These people wake up very early, and the overall consensus is that to be a successful person, you got to get up early, which makes perfect sense. I'm not knocking that. In fact, I do that myself. My peak hours personally are about from 3:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. That's when I'm at my absolute sharpest. And that's just because I'm a morning person. I found that out through simple trial and error. And this works for some people, but it doesn't work for everyone. In fact, sometimes I go to sleep early because my brain shuts down at around 10 p.m. I go to bed at like 8 and wake up at 3. So my body clock is completely shifted. But it works for me because that's what my personal body clock is and my peak hours. Some people I know who are also extremely productive don't go to sleep until 3:30 a.m. Because their peak hours are between 12 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. So that works for them. So what I'm recommending is not to necessarily force yourself to try to wake up early. I want you to, in fact, try to find out when you are most productive. So do experimentation. Go to sleep at 10, wake up at 6 and see how effective you are. Or go to sleep at 8 and wake up at 3 and see how productive you are. Or maybe you'll just be a groggy zombie mess so that you know that doesn't work for you. Or just try to stay up late and do work. 12, 1, 2 o'clock a.m. That could be when you're at your best. But just go through simple trial and error. And try to find out, if you don't already know, what your peak hours are, so that when you do commit to doing what you need to do, your brain is in the best state of mind to get that thing done as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Well, I'm seeing that a lot of these tips have a lot to do with time. The third tip is the fourth tip is to take breaks. Now, your brain is a muscle. Your brain's a muscle. And I don't think you know anyone that goes to the gym to lift weights and they lift weights for 3 hours straight without taking any breaks. No one does that. If you do that, you're dumb and you're trying to destroy your body forever. Your brain needs breaks too. You work out at the gym, you take 2-minute breaks. You do a superset, you take 3-minute break. Whatever you're doing, you take breaks so that your muscles can regenerate and get more energy to pump out that last set. Or even you take breaks in between your days of working out so that your muscles can rebuild and get stronger. So we have to treat our brain, which is a muscle, in the same way. Don't try to binge for 3-4 hours straight and expect your productivity level to be high. It simply does not work. Your brain is going to get tired. You're going to slow down and you're going to realize that you've been staring at your computer, your paper for 10 minutes and haven't written a single word. That's when those type of things start to happen. So what I do or sometimes do is I work for an hour, really focus and intense, or even half an hour. And I take a 10-minute break after that, or a 15-minute break after that, so that my brain has time to get off of academia or whatever I'm doing and just take a break and do something else. That could be taking a food break, which I love. I love to eat. A quick nap, text somebody, go use the bathroom, go on Snapchat, Instagram, whatever you want to do. Something that requires very little brain activity to do so that your brain can have a time to rest, regroup, and get back ready for the next task that you're ready for it to accomplish. So make sure you take breaks. The next step or tip, I keep saying steps, there's more tips, is optimize your environment. Now, if you do all of the past tips that I recommended and have the wrong environment, it will literally all be in vain. If you get up early and then you turn on the TV or start texting on your phone, have your ringer on, and are getting messages and watching Netflix at the same time as trying to do work, then you're just fighting against yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Optimize your environment, get rid of distractions, put your phone on do not disturb, don't try to multitask, completely commit yourself to what you are doing and make your environment conducive for what that task is. So if you're trying to do schoolwork, do not go to your friend's house where they're chilling watching a basketball game and expect yourself to be productive. It simply doesn't work like that. And I've done it myself. You kind of trick yourself. Okay, well, I could do work and watch TV. I could do work and go to the kickback or whatever it is. No, you can't. Well, you can, but your productivity will be cut in half or even chopped by 80% or 90%. So make your environment conducive for what you're trying to do. Some people need quiet. Some people use classical music or things like that to get themselves in the zone. Some people like to be in solitude. Some people like to work in group settings because it recharges them and gets them pumped to do their work. Whatever it is, make sure you have the proper environment to maximize what you are trying to accomplish at that certain point in time. Next tip is provide yourself incentives. Sometimes we just don't feel like being productive. Bottom line, even though we know that's what we should be doing, we should be productive, sometimes you really just don't feel like it. So to overcome our laziness at times, give yourself some incentives. Reward yourself is what I'm basically trying to say. So after you complete your tasks, you could say, well, I'm going to go get a burger. I'm going to eat something. I'm going to watch a Netflix episode, or I'm going to text my friend or give my friend a call as a reward for completing the task that you set out to do. So, for example, I have a paper to write. I said I'm going to write 3 pages of this paper right now, going hard for an hour. And if I don't finish these 3 pages, I am not going to eat my burger that I have in the fridge waiting for me, calling my name. Surprisingly, that will give you some motivation to finish those 3 pages, because you know that if you don't, you're not going to eat that burger, which you really want. Now, the key to using this incentive system is to have the discipline to actually not reward yourself if you don't complete the task. That might be the hardest part of this whole tip. Don't halfway do the work and reward yourself, or don't even completely skip over the work and reward yourself, because then you're just wasting time and the incentive system isn't working whatsoever. So make sure you're disciplined. Reward yourself with little treats for getting your work done. It feels good on both sides because you're feeling productive, you're getting things accomplished, and you're also enjoying yourself because, you know, you get to take a break, you get to eat something, you get to do something that you enjoy, as well as being productive. So that's the 6th tip. The last and 7th tip I have for you is simple prayer and meditation. I pray to God for focus, discipline, drive, for what I want to do. And I always notice a significant difference in my willpower and focus when I do that before I take on any task or any day. Sometimes I meditate in the morning to release and distress myself from whatever things I know I have laying ahead, and it keeps my mind at ease. Even if you're not spiritual, meditation and solitude can really help center yourself and just have you remain as productive as possible, because your cortisol levels are even, and you're at peace with whatever you're doing because you took that time to meditate and just become one with yourself, one with God, or one with whatever you believe in. So that's the last tip I have for you. So just a recap of what we talked about in this quick episode for being more productive immediately, things that you can apply immediately. Stay hydrated. Drink water. Just remember to drink enough water. We often don't do it. Second thing is make lists. Whatever that is, grocery list, shopping list, goal list, to-do list, checklist. Make lists, write things down, and remember to apply times for those to-do lists so that you stay on track with your goal in a timely manner and don't fall behind. Take breaks. Third tip, don't exhaust your brain. Your brain is a muscle. You have to remember that. You don't want to exhaust your muscle and break it down. You don't want to do that to your brain either. It's detrimental for your productivity and your overall health. Fourth tip is to optimize your environment. Put yourself in an environment that's conducive for what you are trying to accomplish. Don't take one step forward by doing the task and two steps back by putting yourself in an environment that's not conducive for that task. Sixth tip, provide incentive for yourself. Reward yourself for doing good work. It gives you motivation, more willpower, and overall good feeling for getting your work done. And lastly, prayer and meditation. Find some way to center yourself, to focus in on things that really matter, and just give yourself overall peace and focus, and get yourself in the right state of mind to be productive for that day or for that hour or for whatever you are preparing for. So back to what I said earlier, no one is perfect. I'm sure the most productive people, Warren Buffett, Tim Ferriss, whoever they might be, isn't productive, the most productive person every day. I'm sure they have days where they're like, dang, I really feel like I did nothing today. So don't beat up yourself if you have those days where you feel like you didn't accomplish what you wanted to. We all have them. Don't feel bad about them. But also, remember that you want to be as productive as possible, because it gives you overall satisfaction of life and happiness that you are a productive and working piece of the society we live in. So I'm going to be dropping more content very soon, so stay tuned. I also have a new website that I've been blogging on, so I'm going to put that in the show note, the link in the show notes too. That is musewrite.com. So you want to go there. You can see my blog posts, and also you can find the podcast episodes on that website as well. Remember, if you want to stay updated on all things Muse, you can follow me on Instagram at @IAM_Clee, CLEE Davis, on Instagram and on Twitter. So that's pretty much it. Thanks guys for tuning in for this quick episode. Remember to keep making your muse a reality. I'll see you guys next time.
Hey guys, Clee here. Thanks so much for listening to the Build Your Vision podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would think you did if you stayed all the way to the end. The best thing that you could do to help support this show is by sharing it with somebody. By you just taking a few seconds to recommend this show to somebody, you are making a huge impact, not only on the success of this show, but possibly on that person's life.